Hello, I'm Sensei Alex Kakuyo. Today's Dharma talk is Buddhist Mercy and Student Loan Forgiveness. Before we get into that, please subscribe and hit the notification bell. That way you'll be notified when I post talks in the future. If you wouldn't mind hitting the like button, that'd be great too. Recently, the president announced that there will be a student loan debt forgiveness program extended in the United States. Depending on your particular situation, $10,000 and possibly even $20,000 worth of student loans will be forgiven under the program. And the reaction to this news has been mixed. Some people are angry and frustrated. They feel like the level of forgiveness should be more. Other people are happy, overjoyed even, because their level of student loan debt is small enough that the $10,000 or the $20,000 will eliminate it completely. And still others are angry and frustrated because it's not fair. And I understand where this last group is coming from. The president's program is not fair. It's not fair to people who didn't go to college because they didn't have the money to pay and they didn't want to take out loans. It's definitely not fair to people like myself who had student loans and paid them off over time. So there's a group of people who will not benefit from the president's program. Some might even say they're getting screwed over. And I've had several people email me to ask, what's the Buddhist take on all of this? Now, for me personally, the word that keeps coming to mind as I think about the student loan forgiveness is mercy. Mercy for myself, and also mercy for all sentient beings. Now, it's important to note that if we look at Buddhist scripture, there is nowhere where the text says Buddhists must be merciful. This requires a sort of meta-analysis, if you will. Because if we do read the Buddhist scripture, then what we find is two teachings are hammered over and over and over again. That is the need for Buddhists to be wise and the need for Buddhists to be compassionate. Wisdom is what allows us to see clearly the nature of the universe, see the source and cause of our suffering, the karma of it, then also see the way out of that suffering, which is the teachings of Buddhism. Compassion is what causes us to want to end suffering for ourselves and others. It's what causes us to want to practice Buddhism, to help the people around us who are hurting. To put it another way, wisdom is what tells us how to fix a broken leg. Compassion is what tells us that we should fix someone's broken leg, even if they broke it because they were doing something silly. So out of this wisdom and compassion, there comes mercy. The extension of kindness and goodwill to people, regardless of whether we think they deserve it. And this is a teaching that goes all the way back to the beginning of Buddhism itself. The historical Buddha sacrificed so much to realize enlightenment. The oracle at his birth said that he would either be a great holy man or a world-turning monarch, on the level, say, of a Julius Caesar or an Alexander the Great, Genghis Khan, conquering the entire known world. He gave it up He had an entire kingdom at his disposal, access to wealth, access to good food and clothing at a time when those were incredibly difficult to come by. He gave it up. He had a loving father, a wife, a son. He sacrificed so much time with his family in order to realize enlightenment. And it would have been perfectly within his mode. He would have been perfectly right for him to say, after he realized enlightenment under the Bodhi tree, hey, I did it the hard way, so should they. Could anyone really blame Buddha if after he realized enlightenment under the tree, he just stayed there and kept the teachings to himself? But he did not do that. Wisdom allowed him to see the way out of suffering. Compassion made him want to help himself and others out of that suffering. So Buddha's act when he stepped out from under the Bodhi tree was an act of tremendous mercy. Mercy for you, for me, for all sentient beings. I can't think of anything I could have done in my life to make me worthy of the Dharma. And yet here we are. It was mercy that allowed me to find these teachings, that allows us to practice to this day. And is that fair? Is it fair that historically people have had to climb mountains and travel through dangerous forests, being attacked by snakes and tigers just to find a teacher, and now we just watch a YouTube video? Is it fair that Zen Master Dogen, a patriarch of the Soto Zen tradition, had to travel all the way to China and copy the sutras out by hand in order to get the teachings, but we can just order a book online and have it delivered to our home? Is it fair that no matter what we do in this life, no matter how terribly we behave, the sun still shines down upon us? The earth still supports our weight. The food we eat still nourishes us. Is that fairness? Or is that mercy? And if we have experienced so much mercy in our own lives, isn't it right that we support and celebrate when that mercy is extended to others? In a world with so much suffering, I find myself being joyous and quite happy when a tiny bit of that suffering is relieved. In this way, we as Buddhists, when we find someone who's hurting, when we see a way to end that hurt, we don't ask, is this fair? Instead, we ask, how can I help? And when we do this, another feeling emerges, another teaching of Buddhism, this one called Sympathetic Joy, which is one of the 4 Brahma Viharas, or sublime mind states that we're told to cultivate within ourselves on the path to enlightenment. And as we experience this sympathetic joy, this happiness and the happiness of others, we're able to be happy when good things happen for them, whether it's fair or not. And like I said, I paid off my student loans. I sacrificed quite a bit to do so. I didn't go on trips. I lived in bad neighborhoods with lots of roommates so I could put all the extra money towards my student debt. But understanding the mercy I've received over my life, I can feel nothing but happiness with similar mercy is extended to others. And in this sympathetic joy that we all experience, suffering is relieved not just for others, but also for ourselves. Amitabha.